Hi everybody, Tracy Brown here, and here's to another day of getting ourselves as embodied and free as possible. So I wanted to talk today about a topic that I think all of us have to deal with at some point, whether we're in classes with other human beings or we're in a job situation. People are going to be talking about diets, and it's going to be diet talk, diet talk, diet talk, some days for weeks at a time, depending on the newest thing that people are all into or whatever's going on. So number one, I try to come at that at this point in my recovery. I say recovered, I guess, but in just being a human being in a diet culture, come to that and remembering that I was once there, and I'm so glad I'm not now. So even if you don't feel like that you are where you want to be, that's not a big deal. We can still remember how bad that was at the worst of it, even if you're just in contemplative stage of becoming an intuitive eater. Know that like even thinking about something different is not where other people are who are actively dieting. So give yourself credit for that. And so secondly, there's all kinds of things we can do to help us have our own little bubble, I would say, or some boundaries around that. And so I'm just going to run in a list of things that might work great for you. There's other great resources online that have this. I highly recommend you look at Reagan Chastain's work. She's so great at the one-liners and snarky comments. So I won't do a ton of that here just because she's so good at it and I'm not as able to get those words out maybe as she is. So if that's something that's really your style, then I will just say yes, go for the snark if that feels good and comfortable to you. I don't mind that a bit. If you're feeling like a little bit more of a gentler approach is more your style, then keep in tune here. So what I would say first is recognizing that you're going to have to learn how to be the king or queen of learning how to be good at changing the subject, like being the expert at redirecting. And so what that means is if somebody says, oh my gosh, I have not lost a pound last week and I skip dessert like every day, I'm so frustrated. Sometimes some of the best things I used to do when I worked in an office lunchroom or a break room situation when I had to eat lunch with people is that I would just be very good at redirecting. Oh, how did that picnic go with your grandson? How did that go this week? And redirect that. Sometimes I would also, if I was feeling up to like, I'm really sorry you're feeling so frustrated, that's got to be hard not to eat your favorite things and not see what's going on with that. And I wonder if the diet's actually all that great or working for you. And that's something I might say if I had maybe a little bit better relationship or I was just having a really spunky day. So you have all kinds of options of how to redirect or to how to bring compassion to them or to just change the subject altogether. There's some other just easier things you can do as well. If you don't want to get into it, I mean, you don't have to eat lunch with people. Now, I don't recommend you isolating yourself forever, but if it's really bad and actually still people know where you stand with things and they still make comments, the best thing to do is like take some space away from people and go on a walk for your lunch break or go stay in your own space and read a book or whatever and come back when things have kind of cool down if it's just really extra ridiculous, basically. Even though I try to be compassionate, I get frustrated with that stuff too. So I have my limit as well of how much I can tolerate. So and let that be okay that you have frustrations about that. So we talked about redirecting, we've talked about empathy, and we've talked about having space. But the other way you could have space is to wear earphones to make sure that people know like you're not interested in all that. And something that as you get stronger in this, I really recommend that you talk more about yourself and your journey. Like, yeah, and you might have your intuitive eating book on your desk, and maybe if you feel confident about that, people ask you, what's this book about? Oh, it's about learning to eat from hunger and fullness and trusting your body to be the way that's healthiest for you, and having full permission to eat. And that will definitely probably bring up a conversation, or people will look at you like you have three heads, and that's okay too. And another thing that I use a lot, because I usually tend to have smaller groups of people I'm around, but it's more intimate and people know me a little bit better. So something I say when people are actually being harsh on their bodies or others, I'm just really clear about the fact that when you make negative comments about others or your own body, it makes me really sad, because there's nothing inherently wrong with you. So what if you gain some weight or you don't weigh as less as you like to? It doesn't mean that you're any less valuable or even attractive if that's what you're worried about, or healthy. I mean, there are lots of ways behaviorally to like hedge your bets with your health. You don't have to lose weight to get there. And sometimes just having that kind of like this, what you're saying, this is how it makes me feel, and not making them wrong or bad, can open some things up too. And again, all these options are just choices for you. You don't have to use any of them, but they're options. And so what works best for me may not work best for you, but I tend to want to either change the subject, that's best for me, ignore a lot of comments that are made just because there are times that I don't really feel like having a educational session with somebody. This is what I do, so I don't want to do this 24/7 in terms of talking about intuitive eating my entire life, even though it pretty much is, and I'm cool with that. But you know, when I'm out with people, I don't always want to talk about food. I just want to be doing what we're doing. So you could decide that. So like I said, there's always a re-review again. So there's redirecting, educating people on what you are doing, keeping clear about your boundaries, creating a good space for yourself if you possibly can, and getting away from people that just don't seem to take the social cue that you don't want to hear about this or you don't want to talk about it, and speaking your truth. I think those are all really important, valuable ways of doing things. And leaving below for the comments for me, is there anything else that you've tried that has people either stop talking about diets, got into a conversation with you about it in a productive way, or what ways have you used to educate or redirect people? I'd love to hear about things you've tried as well to share with others, and I'll definitely include that in another video. So thank you so much for watching, and take care. Bye.